What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy, and today, welcome back to the podcast. Finally, it's been a whole, probably about 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks since we last did. I missed 2 weeks. First week we missed, which was the week after deadline day. Me and Joe started playing Football Manager, and it turns out we didn't stop. And the second week, Joe was away, and I was going to get a quick video out just by myself talking about everything quickly, but I didn't find time for it. So we have an episode now. Hopefully you haven't forgotten about us. I'm not dead, neither is he, and I'm joined today only with Joe. Say hello.
Hi guys.
Making things awkward every week.
I just love to do that.
But today we've got a lot to talk about, really. We've missed a lot of the stuff. We missed deadline day. That will be featuring. European football will be featuring. All the previous results, barring the last week, will be featuring. So we'll be featuring just this week's results, just to make things easier. Otherwise, we could be here for absolutely hours. And the first thing I want to talk about is, noticeably, like in the second episode, I think after Chelsea's second game, me and Joe both said this was a troubling time for Chelsea. I think they'd hadn't picked up many points.
They're piss poor.
They were piss poor, yeah. And I think I saw in the comments on one of my video, one or two people saying, give them a chance, they'll improve, but they've still been poor. And I think that highlights the fact that Chelsea are a team in transition. They are crumbling, and they're in desperate need of change. Otherwise, well, I think their season for the looking for the Premier League is over. Let's put it that way.
I should have thought this through. I could have made a hashtag save our season sign with a Chelsea badge on it. I was actually, believe it or not, I was talking about this at work today with someone, and I was asking them, because they're a Chelsea fan, what they think, and they said, to be honest, I'll be happy with a top 4 finish. Now that's quite a thing coming from Chelsea, seeing as they're always expected to win the league. And them saying, well, I'll take a top 4 finish, to me, I was like, well, I was taken back a little bit. Like that's something I didn't expect them to say.
Yeah, it's got to the point where, Chelsea have looked poor, and it's not as if you can say, oh, well, they've just been like unluckily beaten, that they've just been like brushed out of a game. No, it starts like from the Champions League, Community Shield, 1-0 to Arsenal, 2-2 against Swansea, lost 3-0 to City. Just literally got through 2-3 against West Brom, lost 2-1 at home to Crystal Palace, lost 3-1 to Everton. They are scoring, barring the Community Shield, they are scoring goals. Just the fact they are conceding a hell of a lot of them as well, and that falls down to team in transition. Luckily, they are playing. As we're recording this, they're playing. I don't even know what their team they're playing is.
Something else.
Maccabi Tel Aviv. Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Something like that.
And the back four they've started with, without saying Begovic in goal, is Baba on one side, Azpilicueta on the other side, Cahill and Zuma, which is the defence I think is the best defence they've got, because Terry is
they've got Azpilicueta at right back.
Yeah, Azpilicueta at right back.
Do you know what's quite funny? When I was talking to my friend earlier, I said to him, you know what Chelsea need to do? They need to play Kurt Zuma, Cahill, and then Azpilicueta one side and Rahman the other.
Let's not forget about DJ Digiboli, though, or whatever the centre-back's name is called.
Digibodji, yeah. But the thing is, Digibodji... Why did they sign Digibodji?
Because they didn't get Stones.
Yeah, that's a brilliant... I'm not being harsh to Digibodji. He's probably a good player, like 6'4". He's my kind of player to play at centre-back in Ultimate Team. But to be honest, he's not a Chelsea player. No,
he's not at the standard. I mean, as much as people can say, he's played good football. It's unproven in the Premier League, unproven at a high standard.
Yeah, he's unproven in Ligue 1. I mean,
exactly.
He came from SC Rennes, I think.
It is what you call a panic buy.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But the goals, they're coming in. I mean, admittedly, last season, you were seeing Chelsea maybe going to Everton, beating them. Well, I mean, admittedly, Everton's probably the worst one to start. They beat them 6-3 in this fixture. But, as I said, playing home against Crystal Palace, they'll scrape through 1-0. They're losing by a goal. And I think it's the reverse. You saw last season, Leicester were being unluckily beaten, and then they started getting the results they wanted, and Chelsea were playing poorly but getting the results they wanted. This season, Watford, Leicester have started off brilliantly. they're playing, fantastic football and they're winning the games they would have been winning last season if they wouldn't have maybe conceded the goals. And to add to that, Chelsea are playing the same way they're playing last season, but teams have got better. And I think that's what it is, really.
I think it's Chelsea's negative style of play that actually harms them.
Yeah.
I don't like the way that they park the bus, because it's not a way of playing football. It's a way of winning a game once you're ahead. But the thing is, you have to get ahead before you park the bus.
Yeah. And
that's something that Mourinho has probably worked out, but I think he's very sort of...
stubborn.
Yeah, stubborn. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Very stubborn. His way's the right way.
Yeah, exactly. But you look at how they set up against Everton. Everton, I think, Coleman, Stones, Jagielka and Galloway, I think, considering they scored 6 goals in this fixture last season, they had a stronger defence they were playing last season. And you look at the way they're set up, they've got Mikel and Matic in the 2 central midfield roles, which is so defensive. I mean, admittedly, they haven't got many options there. I don't think Fabregas is the right player to play there. I think Ramirez probably is still defensive, but would get forward more.
I think they miss Ramirez.
They're too defensive in their selection.
Well, it's not just that they're defensive, let's face it. He's not good enough. Mikel. Mikel is not good enough. I said this earlier. I'm going to keep on saying that, I think. But I said this earlier. I think that Mikel is the kind of player that would shine in a team like Sunderland or Stoke even, maybe. But he's someone that he's not good enough to play for Chelsea. Chelsea have kept him all this time because, he's been quite faithful to them and things like that. Yeah. But I don't really think they've had much interest.
I think he's a good player for Chelsea to keep because he's a good player if they are winning 1-0 and they need to keep a result. Slam him on for Hazard or something, because then he will just sit there and he will do the role in just tackling people or just playing the role and just bringing people down, stopping the play.
Yeah, I mean that's the only problem. They're not doing it the right way, are they? They're starting him, and Leverkusen have just taken the lead.
Who against?
I don't know. I didn't see the other teams though, but I just saw that Leverkusen were winning.
Well, this is probably going to be a feature of this episode as we are recording this as the games are playing. But another problem for Chelsea, for me, is they are very defensive, but it's the way their attackers have started very poor. Costa's admittedly got a goal. He's been awful for me this season. Every time someone said hello to him, he's looked like he's about to eat them. I think that's
just his general look, to be honest.
But he has been caught off many times. I mean, look at the City game. He was, walking down a tunnel, really angry at Fernandinho, I believe. There's been games where defenders, managers now starting to say, get in, make sure you man mark Costa, and make sure you get into him. You aggravate him, because if you aggravate him, he's going to bite, and he does. He has bite in every single game so far.
It just seems to be, you just need to piss him off and he's not going to be focused.
Yes.
That's the best way of explaining it.
That's so true.
He's just not... He's not doing it for me this year. Falcao scored a goal, but I said this earlier. I'm going to say that so much. But if you're watching this, Mourinho, because I know you are, you're a big fan of us, play Loic Remy.
What?
Play Loic Remy.
Why Loic Remy?
Why not?
Loic
Remy is a very good forward, and he's been wasted at Chelsea, and Chelsea should either use him or sell him.
Yeah, and let's face it, it's now the time where Mourinho's got to make bold decisions. He's got a squad, he's got a squad full of players, that any team in the world would happily have. You've got players everywhere. I think Azpilicueta would fit into 99% of teams around the world. Hazard will fit into any team. Costa would fit into most teams. Same with Pedro, same with Matic, same with Fabregas, same with a lot of their players. But it's time, Joe Costa's been out of form. Get him off the pitch, get him on the bench. Same with Hazard. Hazard has been awful.
They need to prove a point.
Put him on the bench and think, if you're not going to play well, you haven't got your first team spot, because they can play this whole season. For all they know, they're getting paid. They're not going to go down. Let's face it. If they do go down, they will run around the street naked. Put it that way.
I'll hold you to that.
It's on video. You've got it here, right now. It's not going to be edited out. But you've got to prove a point. Next game. Who have they got next game? Let's have a look.
Is it? I
I
want
have
to say
Arsenal.
Arsenal. Arsenal,
Arsenal.
yeah.
For me, yeah, it's definitely time for Chelsea to make a point. Because Remy, I think Remy played against City last season when he started, when they had striker troubles. He scored. Get Diego Costa off onto the bench, bring Remy on. Start Remy or start Falcao, start a different striker. Also, maybe take Hazard off as well, because Hazard, let's face it, has not been good. Hazard the
No.
last season stayed in last season so far, hasn't come back to the Premier League. And that's disappointing for, I think, football fans in general, because watching Hazard play is magnificent.
I think that it's something that you learn on Football Manager, Kurt, as we could probably say. If your player's out of form, you don't play them.
Yeah.
That is the simplest of things, because Hazard, Fabregas, they've both been non-existent this season. And if you keep on playing them, they're just going to think, well, I guess we don't really have to pick up our game. But if you make them prove a point, like, for example, if you bring them on as a sub and have them as that super sub, and they have that one game where like they'll score a goal, they'll get this assist or two in the space of 20 minutes. That's really going to make their confidence. They start the next game and then they continue, and that's how Chelsea need to approach the future games. But they're not going to do it because Mourinho's stubborn and he's like, well, sooner or later, I always do Wenger. I wish sooner or later he's just going to be like, well, sooner or later he'll get on the score sheet, he'll do something good, and then he'll be back to his best. But
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
Definitely. We'll leave Chelsea there because I feel like every episode of the podcast turns into a bash Chelsea episode, which rightfully so, because they're playing football.
They deserve it. They
Yeah.
deserve it.
They're playing football like legless lambs that can't run.
That's a good one.
That's a good analogy to do. Next on my notes is obviously, it's a good episode this week because whenever West Ham win, we talk about West Ham generally first or second, but I felt like Chelsea is more of an important concern because of how well that they won the Premier League last season and how badly they've started. But West Ham beat Newcastle 2-0. Dimitri Payet with both the goals. Victor Moses having a good game. West Ham actually doing something at home, which I think was the most shocking thing for me. And rather than me talking, I'll let Joe talk.
I was so happy on Monday night after the match. I was so happy. That Payet goal. Was I in the call with you, Kurt, when he scored?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, I did. My reaction was somewhat orgasmic, I can say. Hulk's just scored for Zenit against Valencia. It was somewhat. I literally just went mental. I thought it was a fantastic finish.
It was brilliant.
And it was a fantastic bit of play, really, when you think about it. And then the second goal as well was it was a well taken finish, not a nice finish. It was a well taken finish. But I don't want to talk too much about the finishing because I might just have one of my moments again. But I really thought that we played well. Newcastle, admittedly, haven't been very good so far this year. They seem to become a bit of a slow starting team to me. Yeah. But I think that we played quite well, and Newcastle didn't. That's what was quite apparent to me. And Newcastle looked like they've played how they've played most of this season so far. They've not been too good. However, I don't know if personally, I'm not a huge fan of Steve McLaren.
No, neither am I really.
I don't rate him as a manager that much, and I think that was a mistake to let the best coach in the no, it wasn't a mistake to let the best coach in the world go. But I really think that they could have got someone better in than McLaren. But that's who they chose, and that's who they're stuck with. And in the end, I think it's going to come back and hurt them. But
I think it will.
I don't really care about Newcastle too much, to be honest.
The season Newcastle need really is, season away from, well away from the relegation zone. I personally don't think they will stay well away, but I feel like McLaren will do the job needed. We're seeing now Villa are lacking a leader. We're seeing now Villa. I think, although I had hopes for Villa, and as I made the video, I had hoped maybe they'd get Ron Vlaar back. Maybe they wouldn't lose so many players, but I still had hope Sherwood would lead them to victory. They'd signed decent players. As much as they've signed a lot of players, I don't think many of them are first team players. We're seeing now that they are missing, the spine in their team of Vlaar, Delph and Benteke. So they'll be down there. But I think Newcastle won't be well over from it. They'll always be really close, but they will survive under Steve McLaren. He's not going to send them down. I think if you do a worse job than John Carver, then you literally need to reevaluate your life.
I think that's going to be the way for Newcastle. They're going to be there and thereabouts, but they're not going to be in too much danger.
Yeah.
But I think that Newcastle has signed really well in some places, but terribly in others.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Mbemba has been really good, but last game he was non-existent.
Yeah.
Against West Ham, I didn't realise Mbemba was on the pitch until the end of the match when I saw him walking off it. Who else was it? Wijnaldum didn't do much. He was actually the only one to have not the only one to have a shot. The only one that I remember having a shot, because Janmat had 3 out of the 4 shots on target for Newcastle.
That's saying something.
Yeah. It's not crisis time like it is at other clubs like Sunderland. It's not crisis talk time, but I think that I wouldn't say that we showed our class, but we definitely showed that we're not as bad as I first thought that we were going to be this season.
Yeah.
And I think that the interesting game won't be this Saturday against Man City, because we're probably going to lose really badly. That's what I think this week. But I'm keeping my head up because I like the way that we're actually attacking teams this year. We're not sitting back doing nothing.
Yeah, which is positive compared to the Allardyce regime.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Allardyce regime. I like the way that Allardyce was laughing when we were like losing at home, but then like I feel like he would have shut up every time we beat the big away teams. But anyway, the big game for us is probably Norwich at home, because that's going to be. I think that's going to be a tough game.
Norwich looking good.
Yeah, and also we've got the. Oh, I didn't realise. Oh, we got the Capital One Cup on the 22nd. Against Leicester.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I would like us to beat Leicester just to prove a point. Especially because we're away, so we seem to be doing well away.
Well, if you're away, then you're going to win 7-0, let's face it.
Yeah, we're going to beat Man City 21-0 this weekend. So
exactly.
But anyway, let's move on from West Ham. Move on from West Ham, because I know I'm going to talk for hours.
Move on from West Ham. I'll stay on Newcastle, though, because as far as Wijnaldum didn't do much in the game, I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights as I was doing the ironing. I finished off watching. This is the part where people click off video.
Don't say Coronation Street.
Finished watching Coronation Street, and Monday Night Football highlights were just starting. I missed the analysis bit, and so I thought I'll watch that. And in all fairness, when Newcastle got the ball forward, Cisse was absolutely awful. I don't know how they spent about 13 million on Florian Thauvin, because he, as much as you say he's settling in, I don't understand how he can be worth that much, because he's had an awful start to the season, and Mitrovic just seems to like killing people. But as far as Wijnaldum's concerned, he was the only person making runs. He was getting into space, and he was getting into the space. I think he's a sort of player that needs the runners around him. You saw against Arsenal, he was well at controlling the ball, running off and playing the ball into players. But with Cisse being non-existent, Thauvin don't even know what right foot and what left foot. And then you got Janmaat always running forward and probably being the furthest player forward half the time. And he nicked the ball from, I think, Wijnaldum on one of the shots, which I think he probably could have put tucked away and stuck him 1-0 or made it 1-1. But Newcastle, I think they need players to work around Wijnaldum. If they do that, they've got a decent team, but they're not using him correctly for me.
No. I'm a fan of Wijnaldum, so I'm probably going to be biased towards him. But I think he's a good player. But I think
fantastic
that he...
hair.
Fantastic. I think that I don't want to say he's at the wrong club, but I think he could play for a better club than Newcastle. Yeah. I'm not saying that Newcastle are a terrible team either, because really Newcastle should be up there with the likes of like Newcastle and Southampton to an extent.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that Wijnaldum could definitely play for a better team, like especially the way he started the season. Like to me, I feel like he's the only reason that Newcastle actually won a few points this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Mainly because their best signing, Mitrovic, has just been terrible. Cheers. Mitrovic is, oh my god.
Go for it.
I just can't believe how bad he is.
Just likes to kill people.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, Although, actually, I will say one extra thing about West Ham. Really nice to see Andy Carroll come back and not get injured.
Yeah. He played the
Yeah.
whole 6 minutes of the game and didn't get
Yeah.
injured, so
I
props
was
to him.
proud of him. I did predict him to fall off the bench and somehow injure himself for the season, but he didn't do that, thankfully. So,
Next game.
yeah, next game.
But one more game. As you know, if you've watched every other episode, we have 3 main games we talk about. Last one is got on my notes here.
Chelsea are winning.
Well, that's the thing I didn't think I'd hear this season.
Willian scored.
Well, okay. Well, Chelsea are
Wait,
winning.
Wait, does that mean that Hazard/Pedro have been dropped? Because
I think it was Pedro was dropped and Hazard was still playing.
I was going to say, because Willian, I don't want to go back to Chelsea, but quickly, Willian has been one of their most consistent players over the past few years, and he's just been pushed out of the team by a big name.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to the game. Go on.
The last result I was going to talk about is, we've already usually take 3 main results to talk about. On my notes, I haven't got a game. I've got Benteke OP and Marshall the Orgasm Maker.
Oh!
Marshall, and that is of course reference to Manchester United 3, Liverpool 1, in which we saw that maybe Manchester United don't need a striker. Maybe they are okay with Fellaini up front. They aren't. That first half was the most awful piece of football I've seen since this season. Let's put it that way. And it shows that they are good at going forward. They can get the goals. I mean, a penalty and a free kick, and then a Marshall, just a bit of luck, but a great goal from Marshall in the end. Great bit of skill. And then, and then the overhead kick, you look at it and you think all 4 goals on a regular day maybe wouldn't have happened. And it shows, although they beat emphatically Liverpool 3-1, maybe I see both teams as still being relatively poor all round.
Yeah, I didn't watch the first half because I can't actually. Well, I was at a party with, it was my dad's girlfriend's 50th, and it was actually on in the front room, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. But anyway, I watched the second half of it, and I actually really enjoyed the second half.
Yeah, it was much better.
I really enjoyed it actually. It was probably one of the first games I've actually watched this season, apart from the sort of midday Saturday games when I'm not working. But yeah, I watched that, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I actually thought that Fellaini was really good. I really like Fellaini as a centre forward, but not because of his actual forward ability, but because he's really good at doing what Fellaini does best, which is holding the ball up.
Yeah.
And he held the ball up, got players to come into play, and it looked good. Although I don't know what to. I don't know what to say about Marshall yet, though. he scored 1 goal, which did me and you agree on it, Kurt, or was it me and Charlie?
I'm not sure.
But either way, I said that Marshall's goal, they compare it to Henry's, but I compare it to a lot of luck and a nice finish.
I compare it to the Manchester United giant, which you'll know, obviously. He scored a goal on his debut to win a game, pretty much. Yeah. And you'll remember his name. He's still at the Man United now. He's definitely one of the world's best strikers. Federico Makeda. Look what happened to him.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Perfect example for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's taken quite a few deflections to get through. And it did take a lot of deflections, and he got quite lucky. Yeah, everyone's got to face it. He got very lucky with his goal.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic finish. He did really well to place it, and I think it was bigger for Man U because he scored it against Liverpool, who of course were some of their main rivals. But
yeah.
All I can say is you didn't beat them 3-0, did you?
Yeah. Going on to not beating them 3-0 and beating them 3-1. That goal from Benteke is it's out of the. It just shows Benteke is literally a player that can blow hot and cold, because he's been awful this season and pulls that out of the bag. Where did that come from?
When I saw that, first of all, I was really peed off. And then second of all, I was really happy. I was peed off because I put De Gea in my team.
Yeah, I was peed off in my defence.
And that got rid of his clean sheet. But that bicycle kick was beautiful. When that went in, I literally stood up and clapped. I thought it was fantastic. And then I said, game on. And then 2 minutes later, Marshall scored. So I must have jinxed it somehow. But oh my god, what a bicycle kick!
Yeah.
It really reminded me of a better one than Wayne Rooney.
Well, okay then. That's a statement in itself.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. But I was about to talk about one other thing, but I've completely forgot. So I will talk quickly about Luke Shaw, which it was a horrible injury. Watching that live,
That was horrible.
it was horrible. Because I didn't see it. I didn't see it live. What happens when they were playing it through? They showed the replay, and just seeing him fall over with his leg, just sort of. I'm probably going to wheeze a few people out, but flopping, as if there wasn't a bone there. It's just it was something about that isn't nice. Then when the picture came out of him, with oxygen there, really clutching it, and with a sort of tear going down his face, that just shows how much A, it would have hurt, and B, how much it means to him, because he's going to be out until at least 2016 at the earliest.
Yeah.
And they are going to miss him because he's been one of their best players so far from the end of last season and the start of this season. I think he's been quality, and he showed he's got the potential to be England's best left back and one of the world's best left backs for me.
I really hope that he gets back on good form because bloody hell. I've not rated Luke Shaw in the past because I thought it was a big money move for no reason, but this year he's really proved to me why it was 35 million. But
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good for England the other week. The only good thing on my perspective is that if Aaron Cresswell keeps on playing quite well, he might get called up to get given a chance finally. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really sad to see Luke Shaw get stretchered off, especially for my fantasy football team, as I had 2 players stretchered off. Well, not actually. I don't think Company was stretchered off.
Company's said he's Pellegrini said was just a precaution, and he's still in contention for the weekend games.
No, he's not. I heard he's out for the season against West Ham.
Okay, fair enough.
He's not allowed to play against West Ham. I heard
He's banned. He's been a very naughty boy.
He's been banned, just like Aguero. That Aguero guy's not allowed to play either. They've got to play Boney.
Boney, what a player.
Shows how desperate Man City got yesterday. I don't know if you didn't watch the game because Boney was absolutely awful, and they had to bring on an injured Aguero to try and save the game.
Yeah.
Which they didn't because Juve won.
What about Iheanacho?
Yeah, he wasn't playing. He wasn't on the bench.
That was
Really
disgusting.
disappointing. I like Iheanacho. I loaned him when I first found him on Football Manager. Loaned him in. He scored on his debut. Didn't score again, but
Yes. Go on, City. That's what you got on offer. You had your one goal.
Yeah.
He's just basically a younger, more youthful version of Van Volswinkel. Let's put it that way. Scores on his debut, doesn't do anything for the rest of the season. Wastes his face.
The Wolf.
The Wolf. But may as well go through the rest of the results. Of course, we had the early kick-off. Everton 3, Chelsea 1. Arsenal...
Oh dear.
What?
Dynamo Zagreb have just taken the lead against Arsenal.
Okay, as we're talking about Arsenal won 2-0 against Stoke. Palace really unluckily lost 1-0 to City. As we say, Iheanacho, whatever you're going to call his name, I'm going to call him Nachos. Nacho scored the late goal, and City were very lucky to get the win. Because not because they were playing bad, Palace were incredibly good, and it shows how much they've improved.
Hazard's just missed a penalty.
Hazard missed a penalty.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
But yeah, Iheanacho, I was just going to call him Nachos, but he got the late goal that moved them up and then got them the 5 wins out of 5 which they need, which is now going to end because they've got a home game against West Ham, which means they're going to lose because West Ham playing away. Norwich won 3-1 against Bournemouth, and I think for me, now that's one of my predictions, which is going to be right. Norwich doing very well because I think they've shown, especially the signings they've made, and for me, definitely a player that is good for them, which I was surprised that left in general, was Matt Jarvis. I feel like he's going to be a brilliant player for Norwich. I still think he could have done a job for West Ham.
Well, the thing is, with Matt Jarvis, is he's become very much a squad player for West Ham, and I think he wants first-team football.
Yeah.
I like Matt Jarvis. I'm a bit of a fan of him. Glad he joined us and everything, but we have got a few. I don't want to say it like this, but he's some better players, and I think he knows that now.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
He would need to have a big sort of season at Norwich, to actually get himself either back into West Ham starting lineup or a different club, and it's sad to see him go. But apparently he scored a really nice goal on a day that was very interesting. I think you told me this, Kurt, but it was on a day that Downing scored, Jarvis scored, Modibo Maiga scored, Matt Taylor scored, and someone got sent off. Rob Green got sent off.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting day. Fun little fact for you guys there.
There you go. Joe's fact of the day, new segment.
Yeah.
But no, Norwich have got a good team. You know, look at their attacking two, Jerome and Houlihan. I think Houlihan, especially, is a quality player. It's weird because in the last couple of years he's been in and out of the Newcastle, in and out of the Norwich team. When Norwich were last in the Premier League, he wasn't a first team figure. He was in and out of the team, wasn't playing a key part as he is now. I think now he's showing what quality he has, and I think Norwich now, look at the table, they are 9th, and they can easily maintain that for me. Stay around mid-table, sneaking into the top 10. For me, it's simple. Norwich are, a team that won't be near the relegation zone at all this season, and I will put my hand up. Say I will I'll do a giveaway at the end of the season if Norwich get relegated. I'm that confident. I'll give away on a game that's £20 plus, and you can whatever game you want, I suppose.
I still am tipping Bournemouth to finish 15th.
I don't think Bournemouth. I hope Bournemouth don't go down, but they need to vary their tactics, playing 4-4-2 each game. We've seen it from Burnley. They did well. They did okay, but they went down because they didn't have any variation except 4-4-2. Bournemouth are going to do the same thing. It looks like this season. They need to vary it up and maybe away from home, stick another man in midfield, one up top. But they need to change it. 4-4-2 every day this season is. I think they will get relegated if they do that. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it'll be interesting because the Burnley-Bournemouth thing is actually they're two quite similar clubs in the way of they've got their star striker. And the rest of the team is sort of built around them. But the difference is Bournemouth have spent money where Burnley didn't. So that's why I think the difference will be between the two teams. And I hope that Bournemouth stay up to complete that Cinderella
Dream. Story. Yeah. From zero to the Premier League. But carrying on, Watford, which is I think was a surprise result for me at the weekend. Apart from Everton, Chelsea, obviously, but then it's not a surprise anymore. Chelsea losing, let's be honest. But Watford beat Swansea 1-0. Nothing from Ayew, nothing from Montero, nothing from Gomes. On a day where people was thinking, Ayew my captain, Gomes is my captain. Watford came up and won. I didn't see Watford winning that personally. I think Swansea, they're going to do 2-1 maybe against like they did against Manchester United. Ayew and Gomes proving to be the scorers and the assisters, and I was stunned they didn't do anything against Watford, and it just shows that the Premier League's still here, the shocks are still here. Yeah,
I thought that too. I thought that it was a very good game from Watford, really, to win that sort of match against an informed Swansea.
Yeah, definitely.
But I didn't put Gomes as my captain, to put that out there.
What'd you put?
I had Aguero.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get much better, did I? Actually, I got worse. Because he went off after 36 minutes. But
buying your 2 points. Sorry.
Yeah, I got 2 points. Yeah. But I got lucky that Silva didn't play because Houlihan then played.
I already moved him off for Barkley, and that was a good choice in the end because Barkley got 2 assists and Houlihan did well for you as well. So Silva being out of the team helped both of us.
Yeah.
Silva just not to play for the rest of the season for me. Other players will play well then.
But,
moving on.
Although I know I've made that mistake because I've taken Aguero out of my team.
Oh,
and you know what happened when I took out Wilson? And the game after they played against West Ham, so
it's risky.
I'm not going to say anything, but I'm predicting an Aguero hat-trick.
5.
Aguero hat-trick. If he scores a hat-trick, I probably will cry.
You'll still beat
him out of my team.
You'll still beat him. It's like the Man United game. I lost the clean sheet for Darmian, but I forgot I placed £2 on both teams to score. So, bonus.
Oh yeah, I've got to think about my bets this week.
But West Brom drew 0-0 against Southampton. Southampton had a very poor start. So have West Brom, and well, I don't know. West Brom have they drawn every single game so far this season?
I'm going to check quickly.
I've already clicked their name.
I don't think they've drawn every game because they lost to Chelsea.
Oh yeah, sorry, never mind. I'm being stupid.
But If they won a game, that's the thing I want to know.
1-1-0 against Stoke, who have been very poor themselves. But yeah, they beat Stoke 0-0. Nothing really to talk about. They were quite dreadful. Moving on to Sunday, Sunderland lost 1-0 at home to Tottenham. For
Both
me,
poor.
a Tottenham side, well, Sunderland obviously very poor looking, and I think everyone can see that. And I think when people questioned my decision to put Sunderland, rock bottom, I think I put them. It's becoming alive now because they will be going down if they don't change at the moment. And I think Dick Advocat needs to go for me. And then Spurs, who are very poor themselves. Harry Kane's not playing well. None of their teams playing well. They relied on a Ryan Mason goal, which should not be happening. For
Ryan
a team
Mason,
like Spurs.
I do not rate him at all.
No, I don't think it is. I think the hype is too much compared to his ability, personally.
It's ridiculous. He will be soon. You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Jay Spearing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jay Spearing. He reminds me of Jay Spearing, he does.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh my God, Roma have just equalised against Barca.
Ooh, bloody hell. Leicester beat Aston Villa 3-2, a game where we saw Leicester are generally people to be considered. Mahrez was magnificent in that game. Villa started well, but you saw from the post-match thing with Tim Sherwood how gutted he was, how disappointed I think he was in the players, because they had that game. They failed to defend, and I think with Delph leading them, with Benteke to maybe kick the ball up to, with Ron Vlaar organising the defence, that wouldn't have happened. Without them, that happened, and that's just fact for me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't know if Tim Sherwood is... I'm not a massive fan of Tim Sherwood, to be honest. It's not... I just don't rate him as a manager that much.
Fair enough.
He didn't really do well at Spurs. But what I don't get, someone will be manager of like Spurs, for example, and then they don't succeed. So then they go to manage a lower club. So if they couldn't succeed with good players, how are they going to succeed with worse players?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. I mean, I know his job's only to keep them in the league, not to actually challenge for top 4.
Mm.
But he lost his job at Spurs after underperforming quite a lot. So surely, if he underperformed an incredible amount, he's going to underperform even the slightest bit for Villa. And unfortunately, the slightest bit for Villa is relegation.
Yeah, and it's looking worryingly so now.
Yeah.
For them. But I think it just shows that Leicester, are a team to be. So they're in great form, and Villa are a team that needs some saviour. Whether that comes with Gusted, whether that comes with one of the youth players, or Jack Grealish, I don't know, but they need saving. And lastly,
Florenzi just scored from the halfway line against Barcelona.
I will need to look that up on Vine in a second. And West Ham, obviously, we know, beat Newcastle 2-0. Now, we have already gone well over half an hour in this. Something I quickly want to touch on is that we didn't do best transfer. I linked this to you on Skype, didn't I? My lineup thing.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it in front of me.
What I did after the thing, because of course I haven't done a video on it at all, and I'm going to mention it in the podcast, is I've made a team full of the best BPL transfers, 2015-2016. So when the window started, basically all in the summer window, I picked the best players on their current performances, the price they paid, how they'll do this season, just generally everything rolled into one. And I'm just going to get a few quick words on everything. Starting off in goal for me, easily 9.5 out of 10. For me, is Petr Cech. Fantastic signing, 10 million. And we've already seen that people have said he'll save Arsenal 10 to 12 points, 12 to 15 points. Quite a few games this season. He's made some fantastic saves. Notably against Liverpool. In every game basically he's played, he's made saves that have saved them points already. And he's just proved how much of a key player he still is and how much he still has it. The West Ham game was a blip for me, but definitely one of the best. And then behind him, 8 out of 10 is McCarthy for Crystal Palace. It wasn't many goalkeepers I could put in there, but I think at the moment Speroni came back and he isn't injured anymore, but he's kept him out of the team for the game against City, if I'm right in thinking that. And I think he could do for the rest of the season because he's a quality keeper, and he's shown already how well he can do.
Yeah.
Any comments on that too? Any others you would like to mention for goalkeepers?
There's not really been many goalkeeper signings. I would like to mention that Begovic has done well to replace Courtois.
Yeah, at the moment. And
although
Courtois out for a long time.
Yeah. Although I don't think that Begovic is the long-term solution to an injured goalkeeper. I think that Begovic has done well despite Chelsea's poor form. It's not been the goalkeeper's fault.
No, I've seen that because he made saves.
Yeah, after Czech's first game, he's really picked up the form, I'd say. He's done really well. He's won them a few points already, so I agree with that comment. And I also think that McCarthy's a very good goalie. He's doing well to keep Speroni out. And I think that he should really for the rest of the season, because no matter... Speroni's a bit of an ageing keeper, and I think that McCarthy's young enough to sort of fill in the spot for the long term.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I've got the back four now. I will do it as the top players first, so in each position, and then I'll do the honourable mentions. Best right back is pretty obvious. The only two right backs that needs to be mentioned.
It's a draw. It's a draw, isn't it? Really.
I've got both of them as 9.0. I've put Klein up there purely because he's English, and I've got the other three as Joe Gomez, left back, Van Dijk, and Otter Mendy. Which, to be honest, I would change now. I did make this like a few days after the transfer window. I would change this now. The honourable mentions, right back obviously is Darmian. Centre backs, I've got Kulka, Richards, and Lesko on 7.5, and I've got Amavri just behind Gomez. I would probably move Otamendi down because although he's a quality player, for the price they paid, I can see him maybe not getting in the first team this season because City have not conceded a goal yet without him. With him, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll disrupt the defence a bit. Maybe he'll have to spend a season pretty much on the bench. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was the fault for one of the goals last night, the Morata goal. But I think he will play this season, but
yeah,
I don't think it'll be for a while. But I would like to add someone to that.
Who would you like to add?
Angelo Ogbonna.
Nah, that's a good point. I didn't because when I made this, I think if we have a look at the fixtures quickly, when I made this, it was just after the transfer window. So the games I'd seen that an up and down West Ham.
Yeah.
And the reason he wasn't in there because the 4 goals conceded.
Oh yeah.
The goals against Palace conceded, but he has proved now. Clean sheets against Arsenal and now clean sheet against Newcastle. We were very lacklustre.
And Liverpool.
But he was good. And Liverpool, sorry, and Liverpool.
I thought that he was. He's been really good, and it's unfortunate that he's now out for 3 weeks. I wouldn't put him as one of the best, but I would give him an honourable mention.
Yeah, I think Kulka just makes it in there for me. Kulka, sorry, Ogbon just makes it in there. If I was to take Otamendi out, for me, it would be probably either Richards or Lescott probably going in. I think Lescott, because I think he's a quality defender for $2 million, it's an absolute bargain for me.
Yeah, but he's not been playing, is he?
Yeah,
West Brom.
There's been I'm thinking Richards and Nakore.
Richards, I think he's been quite good.
Yeah, he was close to getting his honourable mention.
But I think that Johnny Evans moved to West Brom.
West Brom.
He's only played 1 game or so, but he did look more solid at the back for them.
That's a good point. Yeah. Moving on to soon. I've got playing up. By the way, I'll link this in the description. If you want to have a look at this, it's in the description. I might put it on screen, but then I doubt. I put things on the screen when I'm editing, and I never do. The only thing I remembered to do was make sure putting the old scoreboard of how saying Sheffield Wednesday 6 Leeds 0 in one of my videos is what I remember, but that's about it. But my 2 centre midfielders, I've got the 2 centre midfielders, and I've got the 3, then I've got the 1, so it's 4-2-3-1. The best I've got is a 9.0 rating for James Milner and an 8.5 rating for Schweinsteiger, simply because Milner, for a free, I think any team that grabbed him, absolute bargain. I don't understand how people can't rate Milner. I think he's an absolute awesome player. And Schweinsteiger, merely because, although it's going to be a lot of wage, signed him for 12 odd million, I think it was, and to have someone like that in Manchester United's dressing room for Champions League games, for the experience, just sitting in there, I think it's an absolutely fantastic transfer.
Random update, Giroud's just been sent off.
Oh, well, brilliant. That's not going to help Arsenal fans like him, is it?
No. I agree, to be honest. Milner is... if West Ham had signed Milner, that would have been the best business we've done all season, apart from maybe Payet. But we'll get onto that later. I think that Milner is a fantastic player. Liverpool made a fantastic signing. Him and Henderson, when he gets back, are going to be a brilliant partnership.
Yeah, definitely.
But I've seen some Liverpool fans complaining about the fact that Milner, they're like, oh, he's only played 2 games and now he's captain because Henderson's not there. Milner is a leader.
Yeah, he
He,
is.
he can really perform. He can probably really motivate the Liverpool team, and I just think because it's that name, boring James Milner, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that whole Milner thing that no one seems to like him, but he does his job really, really well, and not many people really understand the job he does because a lot of people don't understand football.
Yeah, well, you look at the saying that, oh, why is he captain? You look at the team they've got. This is the team they played against Manchester United. Mignolet, Klein, Skrtel, Lovren, Gomez, Milner, Lucas, Emre Can, Firmino, Benteke and Ings. Who else there is going to be your captain? You could say Skrtel. I think Milner, more of a leader. Fantastic. That's the only person I could see, but I don't see Skrtel as the leader type.
I could see Skirt was a leader, but the thing is, I wouldn't make him my leader personally.
No, neither do I.
I think that Milner was the best choice, like no matter what. There's no Gerrard anymore. Henderson's gone. I mean, they've not really got many long-serving players anymore. Liverpool.
Yeah, after
When you think
Gerrard
of it.
went,
Yeah,
that's lasted a lot, really.
yeah. Gerrard and Henderson's been there for a few years, but they've not really given themselves much. I mean, I don't know. Kolo Toure. Kolo
Kolo
Toure for captain.
on the bench. Just stand on the bench like, oh, lads, over there. But honourable mentions, 8.5, same rating as Schweinsteiger, is Kabay, because although, people can say, oh, just one game he had good, or, he's a bit of a snake for Newcastle, or he's not as good as he is, I really like Kabay. If I was a Premier League team, just average Premier League team going for mid-table, like Palace, and I had Kabay in my team, and I signed Kabay, if I was Pardew, I'd be ecstatic at that, because he's a player that
He's
can
a
sit
fantastic
back.
signing.
He can run the midfield, and you saw that in Newcastle. He was easily Newcastle's best player when he was there. He's easily going to be one of the best players, if not the best player, at Palace. Palace made some fantastic signings this season. I'll get on to a few more of them later on. But Kabay at 8.5, and the other two is Song 8.0, after they got to join him back on a loan because I feel like he's a quality player. And Yann Vila 8.0. I did debate on this, but I still think the type of player he is could help Sunderland really a lot if he is to play the role, maybe sit in front of the defence, the sort of the Song sort of role, and play that role. I feel like he's the sort of player that could really help Sunderland.
Yeah, I mean, he's got something different, but the thing is, he's also got something very similar, and that is a temper.
Yeah,
And Villa and Katama were two players that are very key for Sunderland, but they've both got a temper,
yeah,
and that could lead to them having future problems. But Villa's free kick the other day was beautiful.
oh, it was fantastic.
It's
Yeah,
a beautiful free kick. Song he's an influential player in that West Ham team.
yeah.
That's all I want to say about him. Kabay I rate him very highly. I'm sad that we didn't sign him.
Yeah, well, most Premier League clubs will be sad they didn't sign him.
Yeah.
Well, you sort of got very deep there, flipping heck.
Yeah. Well, I did I?
Well, it's like you just lean into the mic. It's like you.
What I did is instead of like holding onto my balls, which is what I do all the time, I just let them go and just like, yeah.
Fair enough. On to the front three. Besides the forward, we've got on one side we've got Pedro on 8.5, and this is, although there will be honourable mentions below on the higher ratings maybe or lower ratings and other positions. It's basically because I'm doing it left wingers and right wingers and attack midfielders. If they're together, this would be different. But Pedro on the right side as an 8.5 rated, Payet in the centre 9.0, and Ayew on the left as 9.5. Pedro, because although I don't think Chelsea really needed him because you got Willian there, you could have stuck with Cuadrado. I don't think he was given a fair chance at all for me. But Pedro will do a job. He's shown that this season. He'll do a job. Payet has shown how fantastic he is as a player, how good he is on the ball, and how he can run, basically, the West Ham side. And Ayew, I believe he joined on a free, is an absolute bargain. I was close to putting him on a 10, as to I was Czech. But if any player was to go on 10 first, it'd be Andre Ayew, because getting a player like that for free is ridiculous business from Swansea. Ridiculous.
That's another thing that I'm also sad about, to the fact of West Ham were talking to Ayew, and then he went to Swansea.
Yeah.
Like, if we'd signed Ayew, imagine that. Like, Ayew on the left wing, Payet in the middle.
Moses on the other side.
Moses on the other side, or Antonio. Both, could be decent players. Moses showed himself very well. But yeah, I do agree. Ayew has been fantastic so far this season.
Yeah. You've also got Pedro and Payet.
Pedro had a really good first game, and since then I wouldn't say he's faded because he's probably been Chelsea's most dangerous player so far.
Yeah.
But he's not got the same players around him as he used to have, which is actually good because he's actually showing what he can do. But because he doesn't have those sort of players around him anymore, I feel like he's struggling a slight bit because the other players aren't performing, basically.
Yeah. And
that's the only thing. And Payet, well, I love Dimitri Payet. That's all I've got to say.
12 days later.
They're comparing Payet, a lot of the West Ham things, and last night also in the match, they're comparing Payet to Carlos Tevez when he joined West Ham.
Yeah. Oh, when he joined West Ham, I thought he was doing it now. I thought.
Oh no. Yeah, they're comparing Payet to Carlos Tevez for when he was at West Ham. He's got that same sort of build. I'd say Payet's got a similar build to sort of Sanchez and Aguero.
Yeah.
That stocky, pacey build.
Yeah.
But I think he's doing really well.
They've got some honourable mentions now on the right hand side. Got Shaqiri on an 8.5 just because I feel like for Stoke it's brilliant business, but is there a reason he's joining Stoke because he's not as good as clubs thought, and maybe he's been a bit overrated in his career, or is it because Stoke have made fantastic business like Kabay, for instance? And I've got Victor Moses on 8.0 because he's a quality player, but for me is a loan, and it's hard for me to rate loan players incredibly high because they can be good for a season, but if he gets really good, they'll be sending him back to Chelsea, who will be, if he's done fantastically, will probably be sending him straight into the first team. So that's why he's just an 8.0.
Well, I don't think he'll play for Chelsea, to be honest. I have a feeling that West Ham have a buyout clause in his loan deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
It will probably be something like 10 to 15 million. But yeah, I was very surprised that Stoke didn't try harder to sign him, to be honest.
Yeah,
because I know that they wanted him.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we've got the central midfielders, or central attacking midfielders, I should say. Honourable mentions, both rated 8.0. We've got Jerome or Jeremy Lens and Giorgio.
I thought it was Jermaine. I thought it was
Jermaine Lens. I don't know what I'm talking about, but Lens quite simply because you look at Sunderland. You've seen a lot of this season. You've seen a lot of maybe one-game wonders. Lens has been their best player besides the 0 goals against Tottenham. He's been grabbing goals, grabbing assists. He's been easily their best player. And Wijnaldum, although he hasn't done much since the goal, he will come into his own if players use him the right way. And if he's used the right way, he will do magnificent things. I think he's a bit like Payet. If Wijnaldum had joined West Ham or joined Sunderland, he'd be having a much better time. I just think Newcastle are very poor in the way they play football. A bit like Manchester United for me. Very poor in the way they play football. But that's why they're both 8.0.
Yeah. No, I think that Wijnaldum reminds me. He's actually quite stocky as well. When you think of it, he's quite strong. He's quite fast. But Wijnaldum actually reminds me more of Enner Valencia.
Yeah.
Because Wijnaldum is very good in the air for his sort of 5'8" height. That I think he's. I don't think he's 5'8". I think he's a bit taller than that. But they're very similar. And Chelsea have just scored a penalty, but it was Oscar, not Hazard.
There's a shot.
Wijnaldum, I quite like him. Jermaine Lens is a very good player. I was very surprised when he joined Sunderland.
A lot of surprise transfers this season.
Yeah, but I guess he joined for the right reasons. But I don't think he'll save Sunderland's season, to be honest.
I think Sunderland are unsavable with Dick Advocaat at the helm at 2.
Yeah, the thing is, I can't see what they're thinking because really, when you think of it, Advocaat's got another year in his contract. They could have let him go. But he's only got a year on his contract. The players know that after this season, he's not going to be there, no matter what. If he gets sacked, he's not going to be there. At the end of the season, if they stay up, he's probably not going to be there.
Yeah.
And it must be really hard to motivate yourself to play for a manager that isn't going to be there. I mean, Mark Noble said the same about Sam Allardyce last season. That after January, they just couldn't motivate themselves to play anymore because they knew that Sam Allardyce was basically gone.
Yeah. That's a good point. And moving on to the left-hand side, we've got IU 9.5. Honourable mentions, Depay 9.0 for the reasons that he's a quality player. We've seen that he'll get goals and assists for United. but the price was keeping him from maybe staying up. And the fact that he's a wonder kid, he could go on, stays at United, he could go on to be like the next big thing. So 9.0 I think is a fair rating for him. And on 8.5, Ibrahim Afellay, same rating as Shaqiri because he's been a quality player before. But is there a reason he's joining Stoke?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, maybe when they're signing their contracts, they've been drugged by Mark Hughes, these players, because they're making some ridiculous signings, Stoke. However, Afellay is not actually that good. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but, he's failed at Ajax, he failed at Olympiacos, and to be honest, I think Barcelona were really sort of happy to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And now he's at Stoke. I see him being one of those players that he comes over from Barcelona, everyone's thinking, oh my god, what a player. But, what a player. Barcelona youth player. But he's not that good. I mean, think of it. Bojan, he was good, but Bojan has played well for Barcelona, whereas Afellay hasn't. Another honourable mention I'd like to add is Adama Traore for Villa.
That's a good point. I did miss out on him.
Because I think he's been a difference in that Villa team.
Yeah.
I can't really think of anyone else.
That's probably about it.
I think that is, yeah. I'm going to go to strikers. I can't believe you haven't got. I can't believe you haven't got a third one on there. Just ridiculous. West Ham's new signing of Andy Carroll.
Again, given it every season. He's back again. Another season of playing one game, getting injured. No, but the two strikers I've got, I'll just go through straight away. Rondon is my main striker, 8.5. Because for me, look at West Brom's games. Yeah, they've been poor, but he's been the difference. He's been their best player in the game. The goals they've scored, I think he's got goal and assist now, and they haven't done much in front of goal, West Brom. Besides, the two they got against Chelsea, and Connor Wickham 8.0, because I think he's a quality player. Ex-Wednesday loanee, as fantastic transfer, but he did go a bit silent after he had that end of the season spell in that next season from that. So I'm not sure whether that means he's not as good, but 8.0 I think is a fair rating for him though, and the transfer they made.
I agree with that. I think that Connor Wickham was a bargain. At 6 million, I think it was.
Yeah, 6 million. I still think it's a bargain.
When he had his good spell a few years ago, I wanted West Ham to sign him, not because I thought that he's had a really good half of the season, because that's what Kane did, but I wanted us to sign Wickham because I know that he had potential. He's an ex, going all the way back, ex Ipswich youngster, and there's some great players that have come through those Ipswich ranks over the years, like Darren Bent, Kieran Dyer, those sort of players. They've all come through the Ipswich ranks, and I think that Connor Wickham's going to be a good player for England still if he stays off that injury table.
Yeah,
that's a big thing for players these days. English players, they seem to all be injury prone. Jack Wilshere, Walcott, Carroll, these are all players that once had a future in the England team, and now they're injured all the time.
Emil Heskey,
Welbeck, Heskey,
Gaz Medine. Every time he looks like he's going to an England team, just gets sent to jail.
Yeah.
But that's
Sheffield
the team.
United fan punched him.
That's the thing. It's in the description for mine. I don't know if it's been for Joe's. You've got the link, so that's your choice.
Yeah, I've got the link. Yeah.
But it's in the description. Go and have a look at it. If you have anyone you want to add to that, then leave them in the comments down below. Be sure. But lastly, I just realised the time. We are 58 minutes in, so we're going to be going over an hour, which is quite decent. I'm not going to complain. But
we're good at that. We're very good at that.
We've got 5 things to talk about, and rumour has it. And of course, it's not transfer window, so we're very limited. I have to cherry pick these. And I have done them from various sources, i.e. Gossip pages on websites. But rumour has it, Stones will go to Real Madrid if Varane leaves in the January transfer window.
No. Stones needs to stay at Everton. Varane will not leave Real Madrid. They just want to sell a story.
Probably. That sounds about right. Next one. Austin to Newcastle in January. And it's well known because many Premier League clubs are keeping their radar open. Newcastle were prepared to go active. And I think in January, I can see that being a viable rumour turning into it, because looking at Newcastle, they will need that goal scorer, because his Papi Cisse is so hot and cold and Mitrovic keeps on getting sent off.
Yeah,
Well, I say giving a send off, or will get sent off more.
To be honest, Charlie Austin needs to leave the Championship, because otherwise he's going to get stuck there. You know, like some great strikers in the past, like Carlton Cole.
Okay.
That's it.
Just
No,
Cole.
that was a joke. No, Charlie Austin does need to leave the Championship. He does need to play for a Premier League club. I'm sad that is it Neil Sullivan? I think it's Neil Sullivan.
Yeah.
Pissed him off, because I rate Charlie Austin quite highly.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that West Ham will not be able to sign him now, because we're imbeciles. But yeah, he will do well for any Premier League club. I mean, I even said that he would have been a brilliant signing for Man United. So
he would have done the job. He's a goal scorer. He scores goals wherever he goes.
Exactly. So, you know, that's all I've got to say on Austin. He'll probably go to Newcastle if they actually put in a 15 million bid for him.
Which isn't too bad for me, to be honest.
Yeah, but he's English talent, isn't he? So, you know.
Yeah, make that 40.
Price is inflated by 200%.
But we got last one now. I'm going to go on to quite a sad one, which is Michu to consider retirement after too many injuries. He is still at Swansea, but after being injured for quite a lot, he is apparently to consider retirement because the injuries are halting his playing too much. He's 29 years old. Just add that in.
I would be disappointed by that, because as I think you remember, Kurt, a few years ago, my pro was called Michu at one point.
Yeah.
And all the jokes, nice to meet you, and all that. I liked to meet you when he came over for Swansea. You know, I think he actually took Swansea to the next level, to be honest.
Yeah, he was the starting block.
Yeah. So it'll be quite sad if he does leave. Retire. But you know, injuries have stopped a lot of great players in the past. Very sad that Dean Ashton's career was ended early by injury. I mean, Dean Ashton would only be 30 odd now. He would have played for England, and I don't think we would have struggled as much over the past few years with a forward like Dean Ashton.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Such a good finisher at the ball. But actually, I see a lot of Dean Ashton in Charlie Austin, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I forgot what I was saying.
We're talking about Michu retiring.
Michu retiring, yeah. I don't want him to retire, because it'd be really sad for me, to be honest.
It would be sad. And lastly, I thought I'd end on this because I saw it and I thought this is to do with West Ham, kind of. Nolan to Bolton.
Oh, I'd love to see it, to be honest.
Could you imagine the
Nolan
Medine?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I can't wait.
But I would like that, because I actually did say that I think it could happen when I heard that he was training with Leyton Orient.
He's a decent player for any Championship squad. I'd take him in Sheffield Wednesday, to be honest.
He would still score goals in the Championship, because he's still an excellent finisher of the ball, but he's just not got the pace of the Premier League anymore. But I think that I'd like to see him go back to Bolton, you know, back to where it all started for him. So yeah, it'd be nice. And once Nolan goes to Bolton, of course, it won't be long before Sam Allardyce is there. So.
Oh, I miss Sam Allardyce and Chico Flores.
Oh God! Imagine if Chico Flores signed for Bolton
as Sam Allardyce took over.
Yeah.
Every time on the floor, just laughing in his face. Anyway, thank you all for getting this far. If you have got this far, this is probably where we're going to end off and take about a few minutes to end off. But I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be back weekly, hopefully bringing in a few more people as the loan window is open. We have a chance to make loan signings, and we need more squad depth. I mean, consistent Chelsea bashing is probably going to get boring after a while.
Yeah, we're going to start having some people to have some fun with. I'd just like to put a shout out to my friend Harry Cooper. He asked me to put a shout out for him. Yeah.
Hi, Harry.
It is. We should get Mr. McCarthy in.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mick McCarthy.
Mick McCarthy.
Thomas McCarthy.
Oh yeah. So sorry. My one. Yeah, I know who you mean now. I don't remember the last names. Sorry. Joe Puma. Anyway. thank you guys for watching. Nevertheless, if you've liked this video, then leave a like. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and subscribe if you feel like me and Joe are worthy, and this series is worthy in itself. Any last words, Joe?
This is something that Kurt forgot to mention, guys, a few weeks ago, and has still not failed to mention. So I'm going to mention it now.
Uh-oh.
So for those of you that watch Kurt's Predict series, there was something that happened, 4 weeks in a row, or something like that, 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and that was that I predicted the Sheffield Wednesday result perfectly. And then the 1 week Kurt decided, you know what, I'm going to copy Joe. I got it wrong. But this week I did come back to not get it perfectly right, but I did get it, pretty decently right. I predicted 2-1 to Burnley, and it was 3-1 to Burnley. So you can't complain too much. So I just thought I'd add that as we sign out. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next podcast on Kurt's channel, and if you're watching my channel, I'll see you in fantasy football.
Peace.
Yeah, peace.